Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hungry House Husband Show. Today I have for you beef Wellington. Now as I run the ingredients up the screen here, you may say to yourself, but Hungry, beef Wellington's fancy food. You don't really do fancy food, and that's true, I don't. But even I have anniversaries and birthdays to take care of, so this definitely fits the bill. And with no further ado, let's get this sucker put together. So to begin with, we are going to start with the mushrooms. Now, we're going to take our olive oil and our garlic and mix them in a bowl and just have them standing by. I like to let them sit for a few minutes just to kind of infuse the olive oil with the garlic flavor, but you can do this all at once if you wish. Then add your thyme and give it a good stir, and then to cut the mushrooms. Now I'm going to use 3 Portobello mushrooms today, whole minus the stem. Be sure to get all the stem out of it. It adds kind of a weird woody texture if you leave any of it in, and if you jiggle it around a little bit, usually you can get it out mostly intact. Now we're just going to slice these up. Careful of the fingers, and then I divide them in half and then slice them long ways into strips. And these are going to go live in the oil mixture that we just made. Be sure to cover them when you are done, and we are going to put them in the refrigerator for a couple hours to marinate. So now on to the joy that is slicing onions. Just one onion, decent size though, a nice large onion. Go ahead, slice it real thin into rings, and then you can divide the rings into strips of onions to go into the pan. Now into a pan that has about 2 tablespoons of melted butter, we are going to put our sliced onions. Notice I've broken the rings up just so they would basically turn into strips. We are going to let these go at medium-high heat for about 20 minutes until they caramelize. Now when they get to this stage, go ahead and add in this sherry. This is going to make them kind of steam up a little bit, but they will absorb all the sherry. And once your pan is dry, they are ready to come out and to a bowl and sit in the refrigerator as well. And now for the spinach. We are going to melt our butter yet again. And I'm doing this all in the same pan if you haven't noticed. Saves on dishes and easy cleanup. Now we are going to add a little bit of water, and once it starts to steam, we add in our spinach. Now the spinach has been destemmed just to make it a little bit easier on texture. We just keep spinning the spinach around a little bit until it starts to wilt, and it's going to turn a amazing, incredible Hulk green. Add your salt and your pepper and just kind of keep stirring it around. Once it gets super green, you want to remove it and place it into a cold water bath. This is going to stop the cooking. It's going to shock the spinach and keep it that same color of green. Once the spinach is cooled, go ahead, pour the water out of the bowl, put with the spinach in a sieve, and then just let the sieve drip dry into the bowl to dry out that spinach as best you can. When it's no longer dripping from the sieve, go ahead, grab it in your hand, squeeze it, and I mean, like it owes you money. We are trying to squeeze the life out of this stuff. Get all the moisture out that you possibly can before putting it into a paper towel to get even more moisture out, and then into a bowl and to go sit in the fridge. Now in our pan full of screaming hot oil, we want to put our salt and peppered fillets in and let them go for about I'd say probably 2 minutes aside. We want them still raw in the middle, but we want them seared top and bottom. This is going to help not only with texture but with moisture. It's going to kind of lock that moisture into the meat. And now for the puff pastry. Here's where the fun happens. So I've cut my puff pastry sheets after rolling them out lightly into about 10 inches. I just took a pie pan, turned it upside down, put on top, and then cut out around the sides. Now in the center you want to cut a rectangle and just kind of score it at first so you're sure of where you want it, but it's got to be big enough for your meat plus some. So then cut out the corners here of the rectangle so that you have what basically amounts to a Chinese food box that's been unfolded, if you will. Now if you have any leftover puff pastry, and you will, do not just wad it up. You want to go ahead and save that to the side because you're going to use that for decoration. So once you have your unfolded takeout carton of puff pastry, take 1/4 of the spinach, and we're going to just make a layer of it here. And then on top of that, we will make a layer of onions. And then add your beef, a layer of mushroom, another 1/4 portion of spinach, and then using our egg wash of 2 eggs and a little bit of water, go ahead egg wash the inside flaps. This is going to act kind of like a glue. Now always start from the sides, so fold this up and just try not to rip holes in it like that. That mushroom kind of got the better of me. We can fix that later. Now once you've got the sides up, go ahead and do the top and the bottom from the orientation that you're standing. Poke the sides in if you have any flaps and just kind of pinch them off. We don't want any holes in this. That will release steam, which will make the meat dry. Go ahead and roll it over. This is going to be the top now, and egg wash it again. Now this is where arts and crafts comes in. I've taken some puff pastry and cut little leaf shapes out of it, and I'm looking for holes on the side of the puff pastry where the joints come together, or where mushrooms poke random holes in your pastry, and cover those up with a little bit of dough, and just kind of the egg is going to hold it on just like glue, and just kind of make your shape. In this one I went for something of a flower type theme, just to kind of impress the wife a little bit. It sort of kind of worked, so I'll just speed it up and you can kind of judge for yourself. So see, it's not so hard to make something that kind of looks sort of kind of pretty. This is the very first time I've ever made beef Wellington, so be gentle in the comments. Now when it comes to cooking these, there's a little bit of a trick. You want the oven to start off at 400 degrees and put these on a well-greased heavy baking sheet. And they're going to go at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. Then you're going to reduce the heat to 350 and cook until the temperature inside is 110 degrees, which will take probably 35 to 40 more minutes. Now, when you take them out, do not let them sit longer than 10 minutes before serving. And if you have to, then just cut a little hole in them to let some of that steam out. Otherwise, it's going to turn out kind of gross and wet on the inside because that steam's going to condense. Okay, so cut each one in half and arrange on warm plates and serve immediately. I served mine whole because they're really small. And there you have it, beef Wellington. Good for any kind of fancy meal or even a weeknight if you're feeling up to it. Takes a little bit of prep work, but other than that, well worth it. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. It helps the channel out immensely. And as always, may your life and your food always have flavor. Bye-bye.